Hello, hello. We're here. Are you here yet? Oh, you got them two things going on with your glasses there.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I know we're already live. We're a little
Running a little late,
uh,
but that's okay.
we'll wait for everybody to get on here real quick, and we'll go ahead and join up. Then I'm going to share
It's
this.
the overall one.
Yeah.
It's been a crazy day, crazy busy, crazy good. So as we're
Updating and
getting everything together, we're going to finish our talk on the power and control wheel, and then the equality wheel. So we only did half of that last time, so we're going to do the other half and give everybody some time to see that we're on and jump on. And I see, hey, Christy is on. Happy Nurses Week to you. Mwah. And
go ahead.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to say we got people are slowly getting on and coming on. Again, I see Christy's on. Hello. Boomer, of course, that's you.
Hey, Stacy.
Talking and saying.
You know,
that's not showing up on mine.
It's probably coming in pretty soon.
No, hold on just a minute.
Slide it left or right.
No, I'm wondering if I'm on the... All right, we're going to have a little more technical difficulties this morning. Now you go. Or this morning. It's not even morning. It's evening.
It's been a day. It's been a great day. We've got a lot accomplished over the weekend. We had a lot of people we were able to see and visit. And again, we got to enjoy Mother's Day with our mothers. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there right now. I'm going to put these glasses back on, but you're going to see this crazy light in my glasses.
Ring light is glasses.
And the light in the background back there. I might look like a spaceman every now and then. But again, we thank you guys for coming in and joining us. We know that sometimes the timeline is not always the best time because we always got things going on a Monday. As you've watched Cammie's post today, she's been emotional this weekend and today as well. But it's always a fun roller coaster ride when you go through your emotions.
I thought you were going to say it's always a fun roller coaster ride with her.
No, that's not what love is. You don't do that. That's keeping score. Records of wrongs.
No, it's just a roller coaster ride, period. It's just fun.
But sometimes life is a roller coaster ride, and that's what you got to learn to enjoy. And enjoy the good things about it.
And sometimes some are more emotional than others. You know.
Yes,
it just is.
You know, when you got a kid graduating from college.
My baby's graduating college. And
another one's deciding on getting a driver's license soon.
Yes, so, had her senior year. Oh, yes, she's not ready.
I'm not ready, but yeah.
At her senior day. So it's been, and then today, I got Nurses Week going on, and I've got Nursing Home Week going on, where both of us are out doing things for some of our nursing home peeps. And then Logan, we have a giant fan that happens to be a patient, and Logan was here today, and she surprised her with a visit, and that was pretty amazing. It was pretty awesome.
So again, happy Mother's Day to everyone. Happy Nurses Week to all the nurses and all the nursing centers. To Happy Nursing Home Week. So thank you for all you guys have done out there in the medical field, the medical industry, all the nurses and doctors and such. We would not be able to get through things if we didn't have you guys. Speaking of which, today a conversation came up with a friend of ours about how much stress the nurses and the doctors have to go through during this time to be out there and be on call and go through this pandemic and work every day. Now, it is nice to have a work every day, but to be put in danger, in the harm's way, that's an amazing task that they had to go through. So we appreciate you guys. And I know it's stressful and it's hard for you guys. And you have to take on so much anxiety and conquer that. If you have any questions or any concerns, guys, need any help, feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to help you and assist you with any way. If it's just basic conversation, we'll talk you through whatever you may be feeling, because you guys are amazing and you deserve support, and we're here to support you if you need it. So that being said, thank you guys for coming in and joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started where we were with last week's conversation.
Power and control wheel.
The power and control wheel and the equity wheel.
Yes.
So we talked about that.
Wheel.
Equality, yes.
Equality, equal. The equal wheel.
I say equity because I got stock over here and I got a lot of equity that I'm getting back over here. So you're right. Accountability over here.
Oh, I'm dead over here. What?
So yes, the equality wheel. So basically, the power and control is the negative side of what happens when you're in a situation when someone's trying.
And the equity wheel.
In the equity wheel over here. Where you're getting all the good things from your relationship, your friendships, and etc.
The
equality wheel. It's where someone's treating you equal.
Right.
They're respecting you and your values and who you are as a person. So, yes, thank you for doing that. So again, it's an emotional day.
You're the one that's doing it.
It's an emotional day.
Yes,
Laughing and joking and all that.
I think I'm manic today, which I've never been manic in my life, but I think today I'm manic. It's an emotional roller coaster. It's been crazy, and we're just ready to go to sleep.
So the wheel of our roller coaster go round and round.
Yes. Okay. So we've got this wheel is what we started with last time, and then
let's review. Just say the names and the titles of the ones we went over last week.
So the power and control. We start at using using coercion and threats, using intimidation, using emotional abuse, using isolation. And then the last one we talked about was minimizing, denying, and blaming.
And the positive side of that, if you have that relationship where there's equality, you want someone who's negotiating with you and negotiation and fairness, someone who's using non-threatening behavior, someone who is showing you respect, showing you trust and support, and then also honesty and accountability. And so those are the things that offset on the opposite side of the wheel from what we've read last week. We went over those. So if you missed out on those topics and you want to catch up on those topics, go back and review our previous podcasts.
And you can watch any of our videos are saved on here. So if you go into either mine or Charles's, like photos, and you go to videos, these videos should be on there, and you'd be able to watch all of them. I don't know, you even know how many we've done yet, but you're able to go back in there and rewatch them. And hopefully you'll find some nuggets in there that are good for you. So today we're going to start out on the power control wheel, using your children. Using your children would be making him or her feel guilty about the children, using the children to relay messages, using visitation to harass, and then threatening to take the children away. How many of you have experienced this? I have. Yeah, you have. I had an experience that it was a threat to take away my any visitation, or I'm going to take full custody or whatever, because he got mad at something that was he made up in his own mind, and then threatened me that he was going to take Megan's custody or whatever. And I was like, no. And of course, at this point, I was already out of the house, and I'm like, okay, no, that's not how that works. And I already knew what he was doing at this point, so that wasn't working on me. In the past, he didn't do that. It was after I had left that he tried to use this type of coercion, which is what this is, and power of, I'm going to do this and you're not going to have the kids and da-da-da-da. No, I already knew what he was trying to do, so that wasn't going to happen.
It goes on a lot in separations or divorces.
Yes.
And that is the hardest part, is because when you try to start a new relationship with someone, the ex will try to use the kid to control and manipulate you and what you can and can't do with your child, or when your child's around someone else. And so that's a pretty harsh thing for a person to do, is to tell you can't spend time with your kid because you're seeing someone else and you're trying to move forward with your life. And you're not doing that to despite your kid. You're not moving on with your life to despite your kid. You want to include things and make it better for your kid, but you also want to do things to make it better for yourself. So people will use those children to manipulate you in your relationships and to keep you from being happy in your current status because they just wanted to use that.
I have to stop you because we cannot look at you
With my glasses like that.
We're gonna have to either turn this light off.
Push it back in the corner again, babe, where it was.
Okay, let's just turn it off.
Okay. Now the screen's there.
Okay, we'll turn it back on then because I look better with it on.
Just push it back. So anyway, so what we're saying is that, again, it was a situation where the children were always being used, and it gets kind of messy at times. It gets messy when you have a person in the relationship who is trying to take the visitation away or asking you for more money for a trip or camp or, send your kids somewhere else that you haven't even been in your life, but you got to spend this extra time and money to help them for that. And you got to reach into not only your pocketbook, but your new significant other's pocketbook to help send your kids somewhere else. That is kind of a very harsh way to use power and control on the negative side. Kids are used in so many different ways to help, barter for time or money or emotions or affect. And you passing messages back and forth between the kids, that's kind of childish. I mean, someone should stand up for themselves and talk about what they need to and address the concerns. I know most parents that are separated like that have a hard time communicating. It's difficult. You can't do it in an email. You can't do it in a text message because the verbiage and the tone is always pretty harsh. What you really want on the opposite side of that power and control to make it balanced is a responsible situation where both of you are parenting. In certain situations like that, you're sharing parental responsibilities and being a positive nonviolent role or playing a positive nonviolent role in your children's life and development. Some of the best case scenarios are when you do split the cost of everything else. You split the cost of their clothing, you split the cost of their expenses, you split the cost of their food, you split the cost of their education, the books, their education, college, and all that stuff. You help them with that, the cost of the car, the funding, all that. And then you both are playing a part. There's times even when you are doing co-visitations or you're sharing your visitation. When the child is with one parent, should the other parent call and tell them what they should or shouldn't be doing? Should the other parent be controlling what they can and can't do or how you do or do not discipline? That's something that should already been discussed and talked about.
Right.
And it's difficult in that situation because in one household, you may be parenting one way. In the other household, you may be parenting another way.
And generally you are.
And that's how it is. Someone's always more lax and more comfortable and gives more. Let the kid get away with more than the other one. Why should one influence how you act and dictate? So we've got to be more adult in those situations and be more mindful, not just of the other person and the other party, but of the kid involved, the children involved, because that's actually putting a lot of residual value, negative experiences in the children's life to see two parents fighting that way, dealing with each other that way and using them that way. It's starting the kids off at an early age. And if you can imagine, sense and feel back when you were young, how it was when your parents were bickering and having an argument, how did you feel about it? You pretty much were aware of everything that went on with your parents, even though you may not know all of it. You were aware of their happiness and their sadness, whether they're angry or mad at each other. And you may not have known why, but you know that you didn't want to be around them at that point in time, and you didn't want to have that same situation in your current relationships. So using children is not something that you should do. But you will find somebody, if you find somebody who is using children against you, your children, for example, say someone doesn't want to date you because you have a child, and they don't want to spend time with you because you have a child, and they always want you to get rid of your child so they can come spend time with you.
It's not the right person.
Not the right person for you. They're manipulating you, and they want you to get rid of something that's precious, that should be precious to you. Be aware of that person. They're already trying to use something to power that child as power control, or they're blaming you. You need to do this for me because this kid did this, or
right.
You need to be cautious of that. So even if you're single, be aware if someone is using you or using a child to manipulate you. And it also happens the opposite way. Someone has a kid and they want you to come be a part of their relationship and spend more time with you and that child. And they're using that child as bait to bait you in. Beware, be cautious. I mean, because you get connected to that child sometimes more than you do that person. And the breakup for that person is harder, not only on the child, but it's harder on the person that you're leaving. So be cautious of those two things. And remember to be responsible and be positive in a non-violent role to to the children and to each other when
At
you're
all
around each other.
times.
Because children do know when you're arguing, even if you're in the other room or you're outdoors, you walk back in the house, you have that emotion on your face. It's just written across your face. So be aware of those two things. So that is that section of that particular will, using children and being responsible parents.
Yes. Well, and I wanted to say, we haven't said anything really. If you're on, it doesn't tell us who all's on. So we'd love for you to say hi right now. Say hi, and not instead of, also like or send a heart or something, so we know that you're on here. We've got quite a few of you on. So let us know that you're watching, because it doesn't tell us who's on. It tells us how many are watching. And then shoot us a like or a heart or something, so we know that you're there and you're listening.
Yeah, so we want to see your names. Pop on, say hi, so their name will come across the screen at the bottom. Let everybody know that you had popped in to say
We know
hi.
that there's people on and they're still not saying hi, but that's okay.
All right. Even though this might be a little tape delay, we'll welcome those who have already been on here. What's up, Stacy? Hi, Christy.
And next, we're going to talk about, so a lot of, I'm not going to say most of, a lot of relationships that are abusive are the female is the one that's being abused. And so in this power and control wheel, it says using male privilege. And this is a thing, and it does happen. So treating her like a servant, making all the big decisions, acting like the master of the castle, and being the one to define men's and women's roles. So you're the woman, you take care of everything inside the house, and you cook and you clean and you do the laundry and you do all this stuff, and I'm going to take care of the yard and whatever else is outside, because it's outside and it's He-Man and it's this and that. Well, that's not necessarily the case. What if she wants to mow? Damn it. What if she wants to mow?
Let her mow.
What if he loves to clean or likes to fold stuff or likes to whatever? No one has this is a role because you're a female and this is a role because you're a male. That is not a thing. So don't let it be a thing. Don't let somebody have the power and control of telling you what your role is going to be. That's not a good thing. Treating you like a servant. No, we have a lot of equality here, and people share roles, and you share taking care of the kids. You share, if you have kids, you share taking care of the house inside and out. I mean, you share all these things. They're not just because it's a he thing and a she thing. Master of the castle.
Let's go with that one. I'll take that one for a little bit. I grew up in an environment, and I remember hearing this a few times, not necessarily just in my house, but in other houses as well. I think my uncle said it. This is my house, and I make the rules, and you follow my rules in my house. And that's what the man said, and that's what the man meant. And if the man didn't get that, then everybody else was going to be punished. So that's the old way of things that used to be back in the day, decades ago. That's not the right way to treat it. This is my house and I pay the bills. Well, shoot, she helped build the house. She helped put the money into the house these days. There's so much more to that. It's our house. You buy it together. You pick it together. You choose it together. As a matter of fact, most men will go in their house. They'll buy the house, but they let the women choose what's going to be in there. And so we pick and choose the roles we want to have, but you can't just go say that to your wife. This is my house. You can't say that to your kids. This is my house, because that gives them no safe space.
Right.
And they don't feel comfortable in the home. And I know that that's still happening today.
Yes.
And I know that's harmful to most people's relationship, and they don't even realize it's harmful. If you were to say that to your wife, and she's actually helping you make payments on it, and she put some down payment on it as well, this is my house, you got some drama, because you just hurt her feelings about it, because you just made it seem like it's not hers, like she did nothing. So be smart when you say those things. Choose your words wisely. So don't act like it's your house. Make it a castle for the king and the queen. And there is no rhyme or reason as to who is in control. The queen is in control, or the king is in control. It's our house. It's our castle. You build it. And I've said this on pretty much every other podcast, is that men, if you give a woman a seed, she will plant it and make it grow into something beautiful. If you give a woman a home or a house, she's going to make it a home. She's going to give you all the things you need. So by acting like you are the privileged one and you are the golden child, and you were gifted all these things, and she's just a pod in
A servant.
a servant in your household, you are actually causing more drama and more pain for her as well as yourself than necessary. So that's not the way to act like you're the master of the castle. So the next thing on there is being the one to define the man's or woman's role. To be honest, right now, the couple should get together and communicate. So, but on the power and
Yes.
control wheel, the man is going to want to be the one to define what he is and isn't going to do
The
in his
person that's
household.
got the power and control problem.
The one that has a power and control problem is going to define what he is going to do and what he isn't going to do. And he's going to
And he's
tell
going to
you
tell you exactly what he
you
is and isn't. And
need to
who,
be
yeah.
doing. And so you got somebody like that in your life, recognize they're trying to use power and control and male privilege over you. They're trying to tell you because of this or that reason. And it happens for other reasons too. People get this for other reasons. Well, I know it's happening. When I'm pregnant, you should be doing this for me, or I'm this and you should do that for me. So it could go a lot of different ways.
Yes.
It could be used not just as male privilege, but just any other privilege. It could be race privilege. It could be, all kinds of different things. So
if it's used as power,
it's used as power.
It's not a
it's
good
not
thing.
a good thing. So don't let someone just define your role in your relationship without you being able to express your opinion and your part of that. I know Kimmy and I had that same conversation when we first got together. We had a conversation when I first met her, and my mom laughed about it as they talked about it. It's like, I don't cook. Sorry, baby, I don't do that. I don't have the patience for it. So you say you don't cook. How? And everybody's like, how are we going to survive? I'm like, I lived 50 years without having to cook and still healthy and happy. And so we both have taken responsibility for that. We don't use the male privilege on that. What we did was the opposite of that. To make it equality between the two of us, we share the responsibility. And I say we shared it. I mean, we acknowledged it first and discussed it. Cami is actually a great cook, and she's actually enjoyed doing a lot more of it and mixing
when I
up
cook.
and mixing things when she cooks. When she doesn't, there's stuff in the refrigerator. I'll find it. We'll fix it. We'll get it together. Or we'll go out and eat. And I told her when we came up with that compromise, when we first had that conversation, it was like, maybe if it's my night for dinner, we're going out to eat. I work hard to go out and take you out to eat so we can go do that. I'll find a way to get us food and stuff like that. So we don't go without having a conversation about it. So that's the thing that you need to do is share the responsibility. Mutually agreeing on a fair distribution of the work is the technique that you should use. Making family decisions together.
Right.
And discussing it and discussing it and discussing it. And
yes,
then,
and you discuss it together before decisions are made. That's probably one of the biggest things is not making a decision that affects both people or the whole family without having a discussion about it, because that again goes to, well, it's whatever I say goes. Well, no.
Well, that you don't even value the other person's opinion.
Yes.
So you're stepping on someone else's emotions and feelings when you do that. You're showing that you don't care what they think. You don't care what they feel. You don't care. That this doesn't impact them. They don't have any control or any power or any say-so in the relationship. That's pretty detrimental to your relationship if the other person is starting to recognize that and starting to realize that you're not giving them the option. Now, there's some decisions that have to be made spur of the moment, but still share that conversation and still say and choose to do that in the best interest of both parties. Because you should know, if you haven't already had the discussion, but you should know what your partner does and doesn't like, what they do and do not want. And you should make the decision based on not just your thoughts and feelings and opinions, but on your partner's as well.
Yes. So next. Ooh. What?
Can you drink?
Oh, yes. Would you like a drink? Would you like a drink?
Mm-hmm.
Grape water. All right.
Stay healthy.
The next one is actually a super big one for me. And I didn't actually realize this was a thing until I went through the training at the YWCA and realized, oh my gosh, this is something that I have gone through, that I have lived and still have, a little bit of PTSD with. But now I'm way, way better at it and at not feeling so bad. And it is using economic abuse. Preventing her from getting or keeping a job, and this could be him or her because I've heard both ways. making them ask for money, giving them an allowance, taking their money, not letting them know about or have access to family income. So there's a lot that goes on this that people don't realize. If you have someone that has made it so hard for you to go to work, they're either keeping you at home or making you late or telling you you can't go, and you've lost your job, you got fired because of this person, that's power and control. They want you to be in their grips. If they've gone to your job or they've called you a million times a day, they've repeatedly gone up to your job and you got fired because of their harassment, that's power and control. They know exactly what they're doing. If you have someone that's telling you that you don't make enough money at your job and you need to go get a second or third job, and while they don't do anything, because we can't pay all the bills and you need to figure that out, before they make you think that you have a terrible job and you have a really good job. Or they tell you that you're not able to balance the checkbook. You're not smart enough. You don't do numbers well. Numbers are terrible. You don't understand numbers. Give me the whole checking account. Give me everything. And to where you really don't have access to what's being paid or what's not being paid, what's gone through, where did this come from? Where I thought your check was different, but how come we're not able to pay all these bills? So this is a thing. It's called financial abuse, and it's on the power and control wheel because that's how they keep grasp of you, especially those. And I know a lot of people this has happened to, that you have gotten fired from your job because of their harassment, calling you 1,000 times literally during the day, coming up there, yelling at you, whatever. I know a lot of people that have lost their job because of that.
Yes,
your take?
That is something that happens quite often because there's a lot of drama in some people in relationships and stuff like that. So that person will keep talking to you, keep calling you, keep texting you, start showing up on your job, leaving notes on your car and doing damage to your car and making you so unsettled and so uneasy that you got to keep going out there and doing these things and catering to them and doing all those parts of it. That's power and control. They are letting you know that they don't think your job is important. They don't think it's worthy, and they're doing everything in their power to get you to be more dependent upon them.
Yes.
And also, they will use those things like that when she says preventing you from getting or keeping a job. That's just part of it, and taking your money. I know that that's been something I've heard about. I know that's something I've experienced. And I know those two things combined actually go back, and as Kimmy's mentioned it took me back to a time I remembered that, I had to come out and check on my car. I had to go home to my house. I had to leave my job and leave my job unexpectedly to go home because something was happening at my house because that person I was with was breaking into my house or taking something from my house or something like that. So keeping me on edge and keeping me uneasy and making me leave my house or leaving my job all the time actually ended up costing me that job, because my attendance was poor. I could never be at work on time because there was always drama. And so that is someone actually trying to influence power and control over you because they are upset about something. You got to be there to take care of them and cater to them. I know also in that same situation, the same relationship, I was giving money constantly hand over fist and spending money for them, giving money to them, and they're giving it to their kids and doing all this other stuff. That is economic abuse. They are taking my money and giving it away like it's of no value, but not spending their own. And then at the end of the month, when I'm kind of tapped out, I'm not getting anything back. So you got to be aware if someone is taking your paychecks out of your pocket and spending it for their needs. It happens 2 or 3 different times in 2 or 3 different ways. And I do appreciate my cousin Stacy and Lisa for getting on here and talking to us.
Lisa?
Because I know that that's a lot of things that people do. They tell you that you can't do anything. They can try to control you and say you can't do math. You're horrible with money. You don't have a budget. You overspend. You're getting online and spending too much money, spending too much time. And then they turn around and buy something that's frivolous for themselves. They go out and buy whatever. I know there's people that buy, motorcycles or, extra digital or lawn equipment or whatever else where you can't even go buy a pair of tennis shoes or clothing. I know there's an example. I remember 2 examples for myself. Child support money. I give her my check Boom, I give her this money. Actually, I gave her to it in cash. We met outside of a store downtown. Actually, it was on the Strip. Met downtown by the Strip. I give her this money for child support. She takes
Stillwater, the Strip in Stillwater, not the
she
strip
takes
club.
the Strip in Stillwater. Yeah.
Main Street.
Washington Street. Let's put it that way. She takes that money right there that I handed her. She walks into the Pre's and buys 2 pairs of shoes for herself. Not Kimmy, by the way.
Oh no.
She bought 2 pairs of shoes for herself. Now I'm giving her my child support money, and she used that on herself, and didn't give any of that or use any of that for my daughter. That's power and control. That's basically saying that I'm going to do what I want with your money, and being selfish and being irresponsible with that money. That's just something that happened in that situation. I know someone else who you spend time with all the time, spend money on them every weekend, but never get that reciprocated. The best way to have a partnership, to have that work for you, is have the economic partnership on the power side of this,
Yes.
the positive side of this,
The equality side.
Equity, equality. I'm going to get the equity out of this. If you want to get equity out of your partner, this is how you have to do it. Equality.
Oh.
You got to have the money making decisions together. Now, there's times where you have to go buy something for emergencies. There's a flat tire, you got to go buy a tire. You got to go spend money on your kids'
Things unexpected.
outfits or clothes or something that they need for school. There's things unexpected, groceries you got to go buy, expenses that come up. I mean, and I know all the time there's all kind of things, especially if you're in a divided house, you got to go spend some money on child support or for summer things that you got to have for the kids. You may not always get a chance to talk to your partner about that, but at least do it in a reasonable time if possible. Let them know. Don't let somebody else pressure you into doing something that you need to do or have to do. Give yourself some time to think about it and make the right decisions. But as an economic partnership, making those decisions together, making sure both parties benefit from the financial arrangement. And that goes both ways. If you have a partner or spouse who has to spend money on their child who is in another relationship in another household, and that gift that you get for your daughter that he gets for that daughter goes over there, please, spouse, don't get upset about that, because he's got to spend money on the daughter. I know it's taking money out of your income and out of his income, but hopefully it's going to benefit you both in the long run because he's doing it for them. Hopefully he's doing it financially for both parties. So it's a very hard line to walk to be economically equal and have the equality there, but make it as much of a partnership as possible. And the best tool for that is communication, is talking it out, discussing it. It may not always be immediate. It may not always be in advance. It should be shortly thereafter. Don't wait, guys. 2-3 weeks afterwards. My voice is coming. All that yelling at the softball game.
Yes, I feel like I am hoarse. All right.
So yes. So the opposite of using economic abuse. If somebody's always finding out what your check date is and your cash date is and helping you spend your money,
or taking your money,
or helping you,
or have separate accounts that. So let me say this: for some people, which is totally fine, if they're married or not married, they have separate accounts. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who are so power hungry and needing control of everything about you and your job and the money that you make, not having separate accounts. But there is a piece of, if someone has maybe a secret account, that might not be quite so good. But this is more about the power and control and the emotional abuse of telling you you're not good enough, give me your money, you don't have this, or spending, like Charles said, spending all your money and then keeping their money for something else. I've been there too. And
the opposite side of that is if you're in your relationship, if you're spending all of your money and all your time, you're giving it away to your kids, and you're turning around and spending your spouse's money as well, or you're relying on your spouse to cover you for everything else, that's putting yourself in a heavy burden situation on that spouse. And that may not be the economic situation you want to put on your spouse. Now that's actually abuse as well, because now he's having to cover that whole economic note, whereas you should have been contributing as well. So that has happened a lot of times in relationships as well, where you may not even be
a little more
aware
equal.
where the money that you are giving out is putting you guys in a financial bind, and you're okay with that, but you haven't talked to your spouse about that yet. And
It causes a little bit of a rift.
It causes a lot of rift, and it causes a lot more anger and resentment than you realize. And you may not even be realizing that he's always upset about something. You never know what it is.
Yeah.
It's because he's struggling. He's frustrated because every time he turns around, you're giving away money, you're spending money, and you're not even thinking about it. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the month, you guys come up short and having to scrounge for something. That's not a good feeling that person wants to go through, especially if you got a person who's got very, very minute attention to details, and they always want to make sure that budget is balanced. That is very, very frustrating to someone like that. And I know a few people like that. That's why I have to say it in that kind of very calm and precise way.
Right. But so there is a way to do this and do it to where it's not harming either party, and the majority of that is talking about it. Is this working? Is this working for us? Is it all right if I pay this bill and you pay this bill? If that's dividing it up, if your bills are separate, if they're together, is it not that you need to ask permission, but you need to communicate, both parties, not just the woman asking permission or the guy asking permission, none of that. It's all about communicating. This is what we have, and this is what we need, and this is what we can't buy right now, or you have an abundance of money and you can spend and do whatever you want, but it's still communicating, and each other is an equal party to this.
And a positive spin on that. If you decide to do something, set up a goal.
Yes.
A reward that you guys get to go do that's financial that you can spend some money on.
If you're trying to budget and save money and pay off bills and stuff like that.
Set up a goal number so that if you get this much money saved, you can put some money away that you can actually do something with it. And that way, if both parties are working together. I mean, I've actually had it fun to
going on vacation.
Yes, going on vacation. So put money aside for something that you have a goal for. I've actually had partners and people in relationships, husband and wives, compete to see who can save the most money for their vacation or for their goal.
Oh, you want to do that?
She's competitive, guys, so I don't know. If I say that, I'll probably lose.
Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's not a bad thing to lose.
Who's going to save the most money?
But yes, let's do that. We can do that.
Yeah. Now you're rethinking, if she's competitive, she may save more.
No, I'm not thinking about you saving more. I'm going to win that. I'm going to save more.
All right.
I'm going to put more away. So it's just about communicating. And it's also about having fun and doing it in a conversation that's open and honest.
Well, and that's it. And we've talked about that a lot, is conversation and being open and honest. So let's talk about triggers. If you have been in a past relationship where this has happened to you and you are not comfortable talking about money, you're not comfortable talking about your debt, you're not comfortable talking about your checking account, you're not comfortable talking about how much you make, you're not comfortable in any of that, and you don't know how to say your relationship is progressing, and you're not sure how you're supposed to talk about this. Maybe you have a ton of debt. Maybe you don't have any debt. Maybe you make a great salary and maybe you don't. Regardless, it's hard to broach that subject if you've had some trauma in the past from your relationships. So know that you need to continue to communicate that. And then if you're with the right person, it's a safe place. You can share all that you need to share. You're in a safe place. If that person is giving you all this equality of the good communication, none of that power and control that we're talking about, but being an equal and being your partner and you feeling safe, then that's something that you can talk about if you're at that point where you need to talk about it. Because I know for a while, for me, I don't want to talk about any of that stuff. I don't want to talk about debt. I don't want to talk about checking accounts. I don't want to talk about any of that. I can't, at that point, I couldn't even look at my checking account sometimes because it would trigger me. My checking account was fine. I was still triggered by it though. I've in my head of not being able to do math, which I can do math perfectly fine. But it was what was put in my head so much is I don't know how to pay bills and I don't know how to do this or that. And all of that is untrue. I can do all of that perfectly fine. So having that trigger is something you need to talk about to your partner if you feel you're in a safe place and you're at the time that you need to talk about it. Feel safe.
And that's the most important part because first and foremost, you got to be able to be safe in your relationship and safe about those conversations. And I know that there's individuals out there, men and women, that will use intimidation. They will use fear. They will use threats and coercion and things like that to make you feel bad. As my cousin Stacy on here mentioned, her husband always makes fun of her because she can't do anything. He's again putting you down, using all these power tools against you to make you feel less than. And then he'll probably take money from you and take your check and then run off with it and do whatever he wants to do and say, you can't manage money, you can't do all this. I have another friend of mine who has the same situation. People always tell her, you can't do math, you can't do this. And she's always had to do math. She's always had to pay her bills. She's always had to do that. But they just make you feel less than, even though you're not less than. And those individuals just want control over you so that they can take and use and manipulate and get more things out of you and have you not question them any longer. So if you're in a relationship like that, it's time to evaluate it. Yes. And again, there's 8 things on this power control wheel. I've used those things many a times to weight someone's value to me. If I put a scale of 0 to 10 on each one of those things and they were high on those areas and they had over 80% or 60, 70%, bye, see ya, done. You don't need to be in my life.
Drama.
And then I would do the same with over here on the equity part of it. If you're high on that, I'm gonna keep saying it.
I know.
On the equity side, the equality side, and it's actually called the equality.
It is called the equality wheel. He's just being funny.
If it's over here on the equality wheel, and you feel that this is something you want in your partner, look for that and give them a weighted number on that. And if you have a partner that has all these things over here, that's a keeper. Over there, not so much. So make sure that you know what kind of person you're with. And if that person's threatening you, if that person's doing some things to you, find some safe, secure way to handle that situation. Get some help. Seek help. Seek a professional.
Yes.
Now, so just another question. I know a lot of people out there have their different opinions on financial debt and equity and things of that nature. That is a rough subject as well, because a lot of people will go into a relationship fearful of how their partner is going to react if they come in there with some debt,
or vice versa. Yeah.
Or that the other person
has a lot of debt and they don't have debt and they've got great credit and all of that. So that's something that hopefully you can discuss openly and honestly, and then help each other resolve. Because I've gone in situations where one of us had a lot of debt and the other one actually had bad credit. It was not just debt, bad credit all the way around. And so the two of us, we got together and we worked it out, we fixed it. And before you know it, we were buying a house. You can get to where you can help your partner be better. Yes.
So sometimes taking on debt may not be the worst thing, but also
to look at the bigger picture.
If there's another option to that, discuss the other options. Discuss, like we talked about here just a moment ago. If you don't want to go into debt, talk about that. Share your feelings. Be honest about that. Come to a mutual agreement. Maybe it's better to go into a savings frenzy and save the money that you need to get the things that you want to be able to buy that item. Because I know a lot of people, my mom is a perfect example. I can't say that she's ever really been in debt, but
she's a saver.
She was always telling me to put money away. If it's $50 a month, put it away. $25 a month, put it away. If you can get $25 a week, put it away. Because it's going to add up. It's going to collect interest over time. And before you know it, you're going to have all this money. And I remember helping my mom. I was negotiating a car sale for her one day. And because I used to be a car salesman, I was trying to help her with that. And I was getting her a great price and I wanted to get her all the great features on it. And once I got to the price that she wanted, and once I got all the great features, almost all the great features on it that she wanted to, the guy didn't want to come together with terms in the finance department. So we walked out of there without the car that day. My mom wasn't mad. She was happy. She got the number she wanted to hear as far as the car price. So she went to her bank and came back and wrote a check. This is what saving money does for you. She wrote a check for the car she wanted, and she felt so good about it. I'm bragging on my mom because she saved up enough money to write a check for her car. This lady who, has been in my life all my life, and she taught me these little traits. And once you pay attention to things like that, you can put that money aside, have that competition. She told me this actually probably last weekend, actually, that it feels good to just be able to look at that big account and watch it grow. So you don't have to necessarily go into debt. You can actually just start saving, putting money away. I used to do the same thing. I would take $100 bill and I put that $100 bill in my wallet. And I would collect another $100 bill and put it in my wallet. And I found that if I had a $100 bill in my wallet, I wouldn't break it. I wouldn't spend it.
No, 20s are easy to spend.
20s are easy to spend. Ones are easy to spend. All these other $5 bills are easy to spend. $100 bill, I wouldn't break it. So what I ended up doing with those $100 bills is I take it and put it in a safe in my house. And before you know it, those $100 bills became $1,000, then $2,000, and then $5,000. Then I had to get a bigger safe after a while. So I realized then I had to start putting it into a savings account. And they grew, and it kept growing. And then all of a sudden, somebody came along and helped me spend it.
Not me.
Not her. Someone else came along and helped me spend it, because as soon as I told them how much money I had put away, I went into debt. I ended up spending that money and more, because that person was trying to use my economic benefit as their windfall. So you got to be smart about going into debt and about
people,
spending.
Smart about people.
And about who is using you, abusing you economically.
Yes.
And I knew it was just something minor. It was $250 here and $100 here, and can I get this, and I'll pay you back this. And it was never family, it was never friends. My family wouldn't do that, and I got great family and friends, but that particular girlfriend was just that one that was just taken. So I learned the hard way. That's why I'm able to talk to you guys about that here today. So
that is it on the power and control wheel. It's a big wheel. If you didn't look it up, I would suggest you do so. Google it. We tried to add it and we couldn't add it, but it's what does that say? Dave Ramsey. Yes, Dave Ramsey savings, the envelope, all of that works very, very well. So somebody on a different thing is making a comment that you guys can't see.
And I don't know if I use credit cards anymore. I've got away from those credit cards simply because you get into a habit of spending when you don't have money.
Yes.
So that's where the fact of having that money in my wallet, if I didn't have it, then I don't need to spend it. If it's not in that budget, I don't need to spend it. So using 2 credit cards is good, but we have a tendency to overspend our checking account sometimes when we do that. And then we say we're going to pay that back, and you put $300 on there, but you don't have it to spend now, and you already pretty much spent $300 out of your next paycheck.
Yep.
So then you start collecting interest. So even though I love the Dave Ramsey savings part of it,
the savings part is good, but not extra credit cards.
I've been cutting up credit cards. Simply, I'm not saying credit cards are bad. Choose the right one. Get the ones that are interest free or low interest.
Contact your financial advisor on that.
But yes, talk to someone who's better at that.
We are not financial people.
But I'm just saying, be smart about what you do. Savings, great. If you can get interest on it that's high, great. Get credit card with interest low, good. If that's your thing to do, if you're an advisor on here and you want to say something about that,
please feel free to share.
Share your comments and things in the there. But again, I'm not here to do your academic advising. I'm just here to say,
we're here to help
be
you
smart
with
about your savings and make sure you're not using any of these negative things on the power and control side.
Yes. Or experiencing them. If you're experiencing them, this is a red flag for a abusive relationship.
And it definitely is something that is not something that we would want you to include in your relationship.
No.
Because it's not compatible to the love is thought process and theory that we are talking about here today. Because if love was to do that to you, someone that you truly love does that to you, that means they probably don't love you the same way that you should and deserve to be loved.
No. We've been on here for a minute.
Looks like about
we started late.
45.
So, yeah.
45 minutes, 30 minutes up here is what it says.
50.
So does anybody have any questions, any comments, or anything else?
Hopefully you again took a nugget or took something from this. If you had a question, or if you still have any questions, ask them. We see the comments, they show up. We'll be happy to answer them, any of those. hopefully you liked it. Send some likes, some hearts, some thumbs up, I watched it on replay, I watched it live, whatever. And if you have a topic that you would like to talk about, message us or put it on here, write a comment. We're looking for a topic to talk about in 2 weeks.
And again, we'll be back here in 2 weeks. We'll continue down the path of Love Is. We'll talk about some more things on that.
We might have some guests.
And there's been a couple people who've talked about getting on here and then being guests with us. So if you really want to shed some light on yourself and your conversation, we'll be more than happy to allow some of the people to be guests. So with all that being said, I guess we're going to close this session out. Again, be smart with your decisions and who you choose to spend time with, and take care of each other and love each other on a regular basis, and spread the love and happiness and smile and joy every day.
Yay!
Bye.
See you later.
See you in 2 weeks. 2 and 2.